Hey everybody, Rob Maurer here. Welcome back to Tesla Daily. As a reminder, we're going to be live all week this week. Editor Jossam is out on another project for the rest of this week, so bear with me again as we get through this week live. And it'll be kind of interesting. We've got a lot going on over this weekend, so today we're talking about obviously the Plaid Model S. As we await that event, Tesla sent out invites earlier over the weekend, and Elon Musk has announced the cancellation of the Plaid Plus, so we'll talk about the details on that. We also got news today that Jerome Guillen, Tesla's president of heavy trucking, previously president of automotive, has departed the company. We'll talk about that. We have an anonymous message to Elon Musk, so we'll go into the details on that video. Not going to spend a ton of time on that. Update on the shareholder meeting, some news on FSD, Tesla insurance, and a couple updates on the Gigafactories. So starting off here, we've got Tesla stock up 1% on the day during normal hours. And in extended trading, after the Jerome news came out, we did drop a little bit, so down to about $601 after market. But during the trading day, Tesla finished a little bit ahead of the market after trading in the red most of the day, so kind of a comeback there late in the day, which was nice to see. So we'll move into the Plaid stuff right away. So this is what the invite that Tesla sent out looks like. They said that the event is going to be live streamed, as we knew previously, 7 p.m. Pacific time on June 10th. So I'm going to be doing a live stream for that as well. That'll be just kind of the episode on Thursday. So make sure to tune in for that on Tesla Daily. So shortly after these invites went out, we did hear from Elon Musk on Twitter. He was talking about, Model S goes Plaid speed this week, and then tagged on immediately after that the Plaid Plus is canceled. No need, as Plaid is just so good. So on one hand, exciting that the Plaid is good enough to cancel the Plaid Plus, but obviously on the other hand, extremely disappointing that the Plaid Plus for now is canceled. So there's been, I would say, two schools of thoughts in terms of the reaction to this news. One school of thought, okay, the Plaid is just so good, as Elon says here, that Plaid Plus isn't needed, kind of taking what Elon says as the accurate truth of the situation. And the other school of thought is that, okay, Plaid Plus, we've already now seen it be delayed. We've seen Tesla call Plaid Plus order holders and try to convert them over into Plaid. And now finally we are seeing the Plaid Plus canceled. So you may look at that series of events and interpret that as being potentially negative news for the 4680 battery cell development, because the difference between the Plaid Plus and the Plaid really is that additional range, which is believed to be enabled by the 4680. So if you think the Plaid is just that good, you might be in the school of thought of, okay, maybe Tesla's surprising us here and already putting the 4680s in just the non-Plaid plus Plaid, so just the normal Plaid. Or on the other side of the argument, you might say that the development is slow, and that's why Tesla's now decided to cancel the Plaid Plus. Personally, I think it's better to not get the expectations so high for the Plaid. We're going to find out in a few days. I don't think there's much reason to believe that the 4680s are already going to be into the Plaid. Yes, we have had a delay now, but it's pretty clear that that wasn't what Tesla wanted. Elon said back in January on the Q1 earnings call that deliveries would be starting for Plaid next month in March, and we've just continued to see those dates slip. So it doesn't seem like it's slipped because they were at the last minute deciding to roll with the 4680s just right away in the Plaid. So I don't take it as that side. I take it more as kind of the things that we've been talking about over the last couple of weeks of the Plaid Plus and the Plaid not necessarily being different enough in terms of price for people to want to buy the Plaid now. I mean, you can spend another $20,000, $30,000, which is obviously a ton of money, but when you're dropping $120,000 on a car, base price plus the options, you're probably going to want the best, and the best is obviously the Plaid Plus. So I think a lot of customers were probably just waiting for that. Tesla is sitting there thinking, okay, we've got a lot of orders for Plaid, but you can go on Tesla's website right now, you can order a Plaid, and delivery you can still get June, this month. So clearly they don't have that many orders, especially right now as they're just starting production. So I think Tesla's sitting there and saying, why are we even doing this Plaid Plus? There's not really any competition in this space yet. Lucid, I think the Plaid Plus was kind of put out there to demonstrate that Tesla could beat Lucid on some of those specs. The 520 mile range, specifically, I think it was 3 miles longer than the top spec Lucid. And Lucid, since the last 6 months, has kind of backed off a little bit on their targets in terms of production rate and timing and things like that. So Tesla's probably just feeling like that vehicle is really not necessary, and the progress with the Plaid has been good enough where they're happy with that as the solo offering. So why spend all those resources, all that effort to only delay your customers converting on one of your highest margin products? It just doesn't make a ton of sense. So I'm not reading into it too much in terms of like the 4680 production. I think this is just a business decision based on the Plaid and the Plaid Plus and how they're kind of conflicting and playing in the exact same space, just not making a lot of sense. That being said, there is still some reason to be excited here. Obviously, Elon's been kind of hyping up the Plaid. I do think, Tesla may have been sandbagging. A lot of people are trying to go with that, narrative a little bit and hope that the Plaid is going to somehow have 500 plus miles of range or something like that versus the 390 that Tesla's announced. And this has not helped. So what we're looking at right now is the Monroney sticker. This has the, all the features, the prices, all the options that a vehicle has. And then there's usually the EPA range information down here in the corner. And as you can see, that is not the EPA range information. That is just a photo of a cat. So we don't know exactly why, but clearly it looks like Tesla is trying to not publicize that information yet. So I do think there is a reason to believe that 390 range could be something that has been a little bit underpromised. And it wouldn't surprise me too much to see a higher range on the Plaid on Thursday. That being said, I don't think it's going to be the 4680s. I don't think it's going to be 500 plus mile range. So this was a little bit backed up on Twitter by Bill Wright. Some of you may be familiar, maybe not. He seems to have some inside source or work at Giga Nevada, so maybe not directly as connected into the Plaid project as a lot of that work is going on at Fremont. But Troy Tesla here was saying it looks like 4680 cells are not ready yet with the Plaid Plus cancellation tweet from Elon. Bill, who has, again, given some inside information in the past, agreed with that sentiment and sort of reiterated that to Holmars here too, speculating that the car might have 4680s. Bill again saying no. So again, I don't think it's a good idea to get expectations too high in that direction. I think Tesla, they're going to stick with what they have said. That's the first thing they've said the 4680 is going to be used in is the Model Y from Giga Berlin and Giga Texas. So I think that's got to be the basis for our opinion right now. The other information that we've got here, this is from Electrek. So they got a reply from Elon on the cancellation. They say that Elon told them that, quote, "What we are seeing is that once you have a range above 400 miles, more range doesn't really matter. There are essentially 0 trips above 400 miles where the driver doesn't need to stop for restroom, food, coffee, etc. Anyway." The sentiment there, I do agree with. Oftentimes, you're not going to travel more than 400 miles. The problem is that 400 miles of EPA range, as I think we all know, doesn't necessarily equate into a 400-mile nonstop trip on the highway. I just experienced this weekend. You're in any of Tesla's vehicles, if you're going 75 miles an hour, 80 miles per hour on the majority of your trip, you're not going to get the rated range. Maybe you're going to get, 80% depending on the weather, depending on what you're doing for HVAC, things like that. So I think people would agree with this, but a 400-mile EPA range doesn't get you this in all scenarios. You got to think if it's winter, if you're traveling at high speed, if you option up for wheels, I think if you put the 21-inch wheels on the Model S, that already takes the range down to like 360 for the Plaid as it's stated on Tesla's design studio right now. So I do think there's a really valid use case for having more range than what Tesla's got right now. So not really buying this from Elon, but he's got to defend the product decisions that Tesla's making. My hope is that he doesn't actually believe this in its entirety himself. On the other hand, if we're talking about a company like Tesla that is primarily battery constrained, it doesn't make a ton of sense to just throw a bunch of extra batteries. Obviously, 400 miles of range is totally usable. Maybe it's not the most convenient for everyone, but certainly enough of the needs of the market can be met for Tesla to sell all the vehicles that they can produce, where they don't really need to go above that, especially when they're in a battery constrained environment. So I do hope that we'll see longer range versions from Tesla in the future. Certainly the Cybertruck is still listed at 500 plus. So that you definitely need more range for towing, which you're probably not going to be doing as much of in a Model S. But I'm hoping this is kind of Tesla just saying, okay, Plaid Plus isn't really a huge priority right now for us. There's not a lot of competition in that space. The Roadster can kind of fill in that gap for those that really want that range and that performance. But hopefully as the Plaid evolves over time and potentially utilizes some of the advancements from Battery Day, whether that's structural pack or 4680, hopefully it's designed in a way to accommodate that iteration in the future, so that we can see the Plaid Plus just kind of eventually make its way into the lineup under the Plaid moniker. So that's my hope. Let's see, I'm just looking at my notes here. The other thing that we got on the Plaid ahead of the event was this picture. I'm not sure if this was from Holmars, if he got it somewhere else, maybe one of the drone flyovers from Gabe and Cal, but one of the lots here near Fremont has tons and tons of Model S's just lined up here waiting for the delivery event this Thursday. By my count, this was probably about 500, just rough ballpark. It looked like rows of about 25, and I was seeing like 8 rows here, and probably similar then on this section of the photo as well. So there's at least a few hundred there ready to be delivered, which gives us a little bit of insight into, when we're talking about our quarterly production numbers and things like that. I think we can set, a minimum there of at least 500, and if Tesla's already produced that much, we've still got a whole month left. So we should see some pretty decent numbers for Q2 for Model S. All right, so I think that is it on the Model S stuff. So let's move on here to the news that we got after hours today. And definitely some disappointing news for me to hear. So Tesla in an 8K filing today announced that Jerome Guillen, president of previously Tesla's entire automotive, since March heavy trucking, has departed the company effective June 3rd. So this is a disappointment. Jerome has actually left the company for kind of a hiatus in the past. So he's worked at Tesla for about 11 years. He took maybe, I want to say two years off, maybe somewhere in that ballpark during that stint, and then actually did come back. And now we're seeing Jerome depart again. So unfortunately, we don't have any information on whose decision this was, but as I said back in March, we did see, Jerome shifted over from president of automotive to president of heavy trucking. At the time, it's not necessarily clear. Sorry about those ads, guys. I don't use an ad blocker. I feel like it'd be a little hypocritical, but anyway, back in March, we saw Jerome flip over from president of automotive, president of heavy trucking, which, you could have argued, okay, Tesla's now getting ready to ramp up the Semi. They want Jerome focused in that area. Now in hindsight, it definitely looks like more of a little bit of a demotion ahead of this move, maybe making it seem a little bit less impactful than president of automotive leaving. So, I've met Jerome. I think he's done really great work. I've appreciated his perspective when he's had the opportunity to, share some of his thoughts on earnings calls or at Tesla events and things like that. So definitely feels like a loss. But at the same time, not the first time Tesla's lost one of the, core executives there. We've seen, obviously, JB Straubel move on. His role has really largely been filled by Drew Baglino. Drew's done, by all accounts, a really great job so far. We had Deepak, the former CEO, leave also, a couple years ago. And at the time, Zach Kirkhorn, current CFO, super unknown, but stepped into that role. And again, I think by all accounts has done just a phenomenal job. So there's a lot of talent at Tesla. Just because we don't know all their names yet doesn't mean they're not worthy of the positions that were previously held by people that we do know the names of. So at the same time, being sad to see Jerome leave, it's going to be an opportunity for someone else in Tesla to step up. And Tesla, they should have people that are able to do that. So it's not something I'm too concerned about. It is disappointing to hear for sure, but definitely wish Jerome all the best in whatever opportunity he's got lined up next. All right, so next up here, let's go into this Anon video. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this. This was, 3 days ago now, so I think most people have probably watched it and come to their own conclusions, but it's kind of like a Tesla Q talking point video all combined into about 3.5 minutes here, mentioning the normal things, regulatory credits, of course. So what I've got up on screen here, you can see just the subtitles. Many people are now learning that the vast majority of Tesla's income doesn't actually come from selling cars. It comes from government subsidies, which obviously is a misunderstanding of how the regulatory credits work, because those credits are coming from other automakers that would be breaking the law otherwise and having to pay that money back to the government. So it's really the opposite of a government subsidy, but Obviously, people choose to define it however they would like, no matter the correctness of it. They talk about the labor conditions. Tesla reports on those things a couple times a year. So they do everything that they can to make sure that they're sourcing conflict-free minerals. They report lots of stuff, lots of details on that for anyone that wants to actually take the time to look into it. I think there's some stuff about the Emerald Mine stuff that's been debunked many times. And then, it really just seems like a retaliation for Elon Musk tweeting about Bitcoin, which this whole thing is so silly, because here's the price of Bitcoin. So we're at $34,000 per Bitcoin now. When Tesla first announced that they bought Bitcoin, the price went from 38,000 up to 44,000. But the point is, before Elon and Tesla even got involved in it, it was $38,000. When this video was posted on June 4th, the price was $37,000. So okay, yes, it spiked up here after Elon tweeted about it, and then it fell after Elon kept tweeting about it to the exact same price that it was before Tesla got involved. So they're claiming that Elon was, ruining lives of retail investors by getting involved in Bitcoin and things like that. But it just, that argument makes no sense. And I'm extremely frustrated by this because there was a Bitcoin conference in Miami this week too, over this weekend. And there were some pretty ridiculous things said. Someone on stage, there's like a viral video of someone cursing out Elon Musk, saying that they'll never sell their Bitcoin. Just kind of ridiculous stuff when the price is the exact same as when Elon got involved. And actually it's even higher, because if you remember Elon saying that he was a supporter of Bitcoin on that Clubhouse interview, that was before Tesla disclosed their position. And I think Bitcoin was around like $30,000 then. So yeah, hopefully my point is made on that. The other thing I wanted to say here is this anonymous channel. They have 175,000 subscribers. They had like 115 before this video got 2.2 million views. This isn't even like the Hacker Anonymous channel. That channel that's this one with 3.5 million subscribers. So people are just misattributing this. Obviously, anonymous is anonymous. Like, anyone can be anonymous. But it's not sort of like it could be anonymous again, but it's not like the main anonymous official channel with, 195 million views here, created back in 2012. So yeah, that whole story to me is just completely not interesting and mostly annoying. You guys get less of a filter from me when I am live. Okay, so next thing here, let's see, I don't know if I've got it in the right order here. Another point here just on the Bitcoin stuff. Someone was saying, we missed the Tesla tweets. Elon said, fair point, back to regularly scheduled programming. Since then, we've had quite a few more Tesla tweets. I don't know if there's been any Bitcoin tweets since then, so did just want to point that tweet out as well. All right, next topic here. I think I may have not pulled the tweet up for this one. So let me see if I can just get to that quickly. And if not, that's all right. Scrolling through Elon's feed here. Yeah, I'll probably, here we go. Okay, so this one, somebody asking Elon to give some updates about GF software. I would assume that's Gigafactory software in terms of manufacturing. FSD, Autobidder, Solar version 3, new Dojo chips, future applications for Vision as a Service, and 4680 progress. Elon said at the annual shareholder meeting, probably late July or early August. So we've heard Elon talk previously about Tesla's AI Day as a potential possibility for this year, and the time frame he gave then for AI Day was also late July. So my thought is we'll probably see, like we did last year, where the shareholder meeting was combined with Battery Day. We're probably going to see the shareholder meeting combined with AI Day, where they would presumably cover a few of these things that are mentioned: the Dojo chips, future application potentially, Autobidder, FSD. Those things can all kind of fit into, an AI Day, which would be, I think, a good, catchy moniker for Tesla's shareholder meeting. So that's my expectation right now, is that those will both happen. As for the timeline, we'll see. But Tesla's usually actually pretty good about those meetings. Battery Day got pushed because of COVID and everything last year, but hopefully that timeline, Tesla's got more control over something like that than they do over what we're going to talk about here in a second, which is the FSD timeline. So I guess we can look at that now. Elon also tweeted same day, one more production release of Pure Vision this week, and then FSD Beta 9 a week or two later. Version 9.0 FSD is also Pure Vision. Foundational improvements are immense. So I feel like we could have probably read the same tweet, I don't know, 3 months ago at this point, which, yeah, a week or two away for perpetuity, but we'll see. Obviously, Tesla has done the Pure Vision release now. First production release of that with the new deliveries of the Model 3 and the Model Y with no radar. So we do have some progress there. Sounds like another update on that this week, hopefully fixing some of the issues that we have talked about previously. Most of those seem to have been weather related. Since then, I haven't seen a whole lot of talk about that. So I suppose, no news there is good news, but hopefully this will improve that. And then, yeah, I'm not going to waste too many words on the timeline for FSD Beta 9. We'll just have to wait and see on that. All right, so next topic here. This was an interesting post shared on Reddit over the weekend. This is by Calump01. So he had previously, or this person had previously shared some stuff that they had reverse engineered out of the app that ended up, being valid. So decent track record, and they're saying they've again found some interesting things in the code for the app. So they're saying that Tesla is implementing insurance directly into the app. It will have its own section for you to view insurance details. There's going to be a new safety section of the app. Let me see if I can just open that quick. So obviously it doesn't tell much. At first I took this as like, maybe they're showing the vehicle safety information there, which would be not very useful. But it sounds like that page would actually be to track your own individual safety, basically the telemetrics that Tesla is collecting for determining your insurance rate. So they say the safety rating page will track your vehicle, link directly with your insurance, tracks how often you use autopilot, automatic braking events, forward collision warning, auto steer strikeouts, accelerator variance, and many other metrics on both a per trip and monthly basis, which you'll be able to see on that safety rating screen. And it's determined by, you get a pass-fail rating, which I'm trying to remember. I think they kind of contradicted that a little bit later, because it's all very exciting when we talk about Tesla insurance, but when you start to think about all the information they're collecting, and then you start thinking about, oh, I have a Tesla vehicle and it's kind of fun to accelerate, pretty quickly from time to time, that increasing your insurance rates, that's kind of the other, the not so fun part of this data aggregated insurance, business that Tesla is trying to put together. So I think it's exciting for investors. It's exciting for customers in a lot of ways, but I think people are maybe going to be a little bit hesitant about some of that data collection and how it, in a way, asserts a little bit of control over how you're using your vehicle, presumably in a good way, because hopefully all that stuff increases safety. But it is a little bit not Big Brother-esque, but I don't know. Some good, some bad. Largely, I think it's good, but could be a little bit off-putting for some people. Obviously, they don't have to opt in, though, for Tesla insurance. So they also say there's a new simulator section under Tesla insurance. Simulator will allow you to adjust factors, see how they impact your safety rating, and your premium is based on how those all come out. These are kind of just, describing those features, intensity of acceleration and braking. So that's kind of on a spectrum across all Tesla users. So I guess if everyone's going fast, then you might be okay. Then they share some details on the FSD subscription. So they're saying significantly more work now has been completed. Looks very near to completion. They have a cart system finished. Looks like you'll be able to refund within a set time frame. There's going to be a weekend mode and travel mode, but no real details on what that might mean yet. 2 subscriptions listed, so FSD and premium connectivity. Obviously, premium connectivity is already a subscription that Tesla manages through their portal online. Billing periods are only monthly right now, so nothing on a per mile basis. We've kind of talked about that concept before, but this person did speculate that because they added a spending limit in terms of what could be charged to your car, this person is thinking that, the only reason they can think of for having a spending limit would be per mile sort of FSD billing, where it's not just a flat fee per month, but it's per usage. So if you've got a limit on your card, then obviously you can't go over that limit. So obviously that's speculation. Maybe Tesla is tying in sort of the supercharging charges into this, and maybe that could be a reason to put a limit on as well. But it's definitely interesting to think about, and it's good to see that both insurance here and FSD subscription are getting closer to coming to life. So I thought that was interesting. Wanted to share that. Let me see. I think we just have a couple more updates here then on Gigafactory. So this was shared out by, I'm going to butcher the name, Bogdan Shinsky, something. Yeah, I should probably know how to say that, but someone shared this out, Gigafactory 4 Berlin. So Tesla's got a bunch of production equipment going in there now, which is really exciting to see. Again, doesn't necessarily mean that we're, within months of production. We've seen pictures like this from Giga Shanghai, and it ended up still being a few months after that before production started, but definitely good to see some of those, and hopefully we'll get some more photos like this at Tesla's Q2 earnings report in mid-July. The other, I think this is our last story here. So this is just a quick update on Giga New York. So some of you may not know the backstory here, just a quick update on this. So New York gave Tesla incentives to build the Gigafactory there in Buffalo. Tesla has requirements then for in terms of employee count that they need to hit per year. And right now Tesla is a little bit short of that, but they do have an extension through the end of this year because of everything with the pandemic, obviously over the last 12, 18 months or so. So right now Tesla's headcount is 1,665. That's nearly 500 jobs short of the company's pledge. So I think they need to get to a few thousand or 2,100 or something like that. But they do have until December 31st. So shouldn't be anything, too dramatic in terms of what Tesla needs to do. If they don't meet that target, there could be a penalty of $40 million, but obviously they could renegotiate things with the state if they need to. But they did say in a letter that they sent to the state, they expect to meet and exceed their requirements by the end of 2021. So shouldn't be a big deal there, but I did see a couple articles about this last week before we had this information saying that Tesla wasn't at their goals yet. So just in case anyone happened to see those as well, I wanted to update on that. So I think that then brings us to the end. Thanks again. This will be continuing live this week. I know this is not quite as efficient as my normal episodes, which I'll try to keep things succinct and tight as we go forward as best I can. And hopefully I'll get a little bit better at that throughout the week. So appreciate you guys. Hopefully, we'll see some more exciting stuff this week. Really looking forward to the Plaid event. But yeah, until then, make sure you are subscribed and signed up for notifications. You can also find me on Twitter at Tesla Podcast, and I will see you tomorrow for the Tuesday, June 8th episode of Tesla Daily. Thank you.